All right, my mast ladder just arrived that you hoist up the mainsail track. Oh, this thing's beefy. I prefer to have a whole set of retractable steps, but that's expensive and time consuming to install. I still may do it, but I need something to be able to get up there and work. I had a mast mate on my last boat. I got this cheaper alternative from Amazon. It's about half as much, and I'm gonna see how it goes. It looks really strong. Dare I say more robust than a mast mate? We'll see. It's pretty heavy. I've got to attach sail slides to it. That's the one thing you need to know if you're gonna order one of these. I priced out a mast mate. This is no shade on them, by the way. They have a great product. It's just not very cheap, and I'm on a budget, so a mast mate I think I priced at like $500, and this one was just over $200, but you do have to order slides and shackles separately. You just get these grommets, and it's up to you to provide your own slides and shackles. I think in my case that was probably an extra $50. Get all my shackles attached and get it hoisted. Very straightforward. I recommend if you're going to do this, definitely double check your slide in the track before you do all this. If there's some slight issue and it doesn't work, then you'll be mad that you sat here attaching all these. A plastic shackle like this is totally adequate because the loads are actually mostly taken by the ladder itself. All these are really doing is keeping this close to the mast. So yeah, it doesn't take too long. And obviously when you're doing it, make sure you are putting them on the same side. Don't goof up and put one backwards. Hopefully I have enough of these. I ordered 20 slides. I think they're spaced close to every foot. I want to say I did the math. Well, it's like 13 inches, so I might come up short, actually. Well, actually, I think I ordered 19. I might have a problem. Although, they don't go all the way up, so that helps. So I probably need this to run 30... Let's do the math really quick. Max hoist from the boom was around 38 feet. We can subtract 3 feet. Yeah, I mean, we gotta go 35 feet times 12 inches is 420 divided by 13 inches. 32. That's not good. So I'm gonna come up way short. I'm gonna have to skip one. I might start doing that now. Because you can, I've done it before. I've done it with too few slides. And it works, it's just, it won't hold it to the mast as well. So it's just like a little less secure feeling. But again, though, it's not a safety thing, it's a comfort thing. There are some quality things I'm noticing as I do this. These grommets, like this one is not center, and it may even give me a hard time when I go to attach this shackle. Hopefully it'll reach. It does, but just barely. Alright, most of them are spaced out. It's like every other one. I think that's going to be fine. The only sort of issue is like the bottom 5 feet or so don't have any, but that's okay. It's just a little awkward getting those first few steps in when it's like dangling. This first one might end up like right above the boom anyway. I gotta hoist it and see, because I think this is like 40 feet or something. Attaching the mainsail shackle. I'm going to experiment with hoisting it up this storm trysail track. I think it might get hung up. You know, it's more likely to get hung up on spreaders and stays and stuff like that. But if it doesn't, it might be nice, because a lot of the time, if not most of the time, when you're going up there, you're working on something on the forward edge of the mast. So this will put you at a little bit of an advantage to access stuff like that. All right, those are all the slides I've got. All right. So yeah, it's just these first couple steps. Other than that, it worked out really well. I went right up without getting caught on anything. I'm just gonna take a few steps. Yeah, this is gonna be great. When you're climbing one of these, you want to wear a pretty rigid shoe. It ends up it like squeezes your foot in there, and it gets very uncomfortable if you're wearing anything flexible. And I'm gonna have to ring up a safety line but it's going to be a harness with a Prusik knot that I just slide up a spare halyard. I'm going to be removing this Staysail stay. I marked with tape where it had decent tension, so when I cut the new stay, pin to pin length will be based on that setting. Give her the old jump test. Good chance to inspect. That thing's pretty big. And if I want, it's riveted on, but I can easily get these bolts off if I do want to remove this bracket. That's good to know. Alright, we're almost up to the stay. Wow. That Staysail block is toast. That is completely toast. Let's get this pin out. That's mine. Look up. There we go. Come on. All right. All right, it's time to get out of here. Ooh, feels good to get pressure off of that foot. I'd really like to clean these spreaders up. It just like bugs me what they look like from underneath. I could probably get almost, I think I'll find a way to get it. Yeah, I could come up here with a rag and just get all this off. Cool, well now we can get the pin to pin length and get this furler made. All right, the time has come. Let's start with marking and cutting the stay. I learned this trick from a rigger where you take both ends of a wire when you're trying to match a new one. You put a screwdriver through them and into something to hold it. Luckily, I've got these slots in the dock and then these extremely heavy weights that were in the bilge holding the water tanks in place. And that holds this right so that your pins are lined up. Then run the wires together and pull them taut. When you assemble a new wire, you want to measure the pin-to-pin length. You want to have the pin-to-pin length match with the turnbuckle 1/2 to 2/3 open. It took a little head scratching to figure out how to do this without a spare Norseman to screw in here and make sure it was the right depth in here to mark this line. So here's what I did. Our pins are aligned. 2/3 open would mean 1/3 of the available thread inserted. Then I measured the distance from this inner part here to the end of this stud, 1 3/8. Then I found the measurement from where the wire will terminate to the end of the stud, and I'm getting about 4 1/8 inch. So 5.5 inches from this edge will give me my 4 1/8 to the end of the stud and my 1 3/8 on this side of it. I had to sit here and think about it for a minute, but I'm quite confident. I've like triple checked, you know, I measured from here to here and moved it over the same amount, and it lines up well. It's another tip I've learned. I think this was a James Baldwin tip. When you use tape to mark a line, always tape on the side you're going to cut off, because then if you accidentally were to cut, if this was a straight piece of tape, if you accidentally cut this one, you'd be cutting it too long. Whereas if you put this over here to mark this edge and you accidentally cut the wrong side, then it'd be too short. So this is my cut. I also took the opportunity to actually measure the exact pin-to-pin length, because the manual for the Furler requires it to calculate your foil length. I'm not going to go through it step by step here, but you fill out this worksheet based on your pin-to-pin length, the length of this fitting, you know, whether you're using just this one toggle or this link plate, and you add all this stuff together, and it turns out I'm going to need 3 full-length foil sections, plus you cut down the top one, and I've calculated mine to be 72¼ inches, the top tube. Luckily, I think they ship with 6 or 7 of these things, and so if I goof up that top cut for some reason, I have more chances. So the next step here is getting the wire cut by when you cut the old one, the closer you get to the fitting, the easier it is to remove. You know, the wires are jammed up in there with the old cone. The easier it is to punch that out if you can get real close. And I think using a hacksaw will get you about as close as you can. Yeah, it's gonna get us right on there. I gave it a little bit of space because I don't want to mar, you know, or scratch up the end of the fitting. It's considerably easier to cut wire like this with an angle grinder. You go right through it. But I haven't bought one yet. Just about there. I did end up kind of scratching the end of the fitting, unfortunately. Alright. Just thought this was kind of interesting too, to open this up and see what the core looks like on an old fitting like this, or an old wire. Let's go knock this out. Alright, and break this open. Okay, there it's starting to go. Feels like they use something kind of hardcore to seal it, / lock the threads. I hope it's not like 5200 or something, because I gotta clean out whatever it is. Okay, we're back after a burrito. Ideally, you'd have a punch that would match. Yeah, it's slipping. Like an exact match for the size. 9/32 wire, that, I don't know. Might be hard to find a punch exactly that size. Alright, that's not working. Oh, yeah. There you go. Not too shabby. Gotta clean this up and reuse her. This stuff's cleaning up fine. I've determined it was silicone that was used. You can use that. You need to make sure it's marine grade. There's some ingredient that it can't have for this application. I don't remember what it is. But we actually don't even need to be doing this right now, because you can't assemble this until the furler is assembled, at least the foil, because this won't pass through the foil. So you leave the cut wire sticking out the end. So yeah, let's go out. So actually, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this because I'm dreading it. There we go. And I'm going to try to use some water as I go. The syringe doesn't really work great for that, but whatever. Jesus Christ. Wow, the thing about cutting stainless is when it gets hot, it hardens, loses some of its corrosion resistance. Gosh, ooh, that sucks. That's a solid little gouge. God. That's pretty bad, actually, because that is like right where it's gonna bend. I'm gonna keep cutting and think about that. God. That was really unfortunate. Yeah, that was painful. Alright, I got a decision to make here. I've got 2 wires with a little, pretty tiny and little, it's not as big as I thought. One of them I'm not worried about at all. There's one wire that's got a little divot in it. It truly is kind of right at the worst spot. It's right where it would bend. I'm sure I'm not the first guy to nick the wire on a little bit ahead of that. The load is going to be spread amongst 19 wires. Now, 1.5 of them are compromised. If I were to recut it, I run the risk of not being able to get it on if it's too short. Okay, I've made a decision. I'm going to use it as is. My thinking is this. Really, one of them is just barely touched. The other one, it might be like 15%, maybe 20% reduction in strength of one single wire. If my rig fails because of that small of a fraction, I just don't see that happening. It's already oversized versus original. And I don't think you're getting into those kind of tolerances. You should have a massive safety margin for the loads on this thing. You know, if 1 out of 19 wires is compromised by 15-20%, that's a pretty small margin. So it's going to keep me up at night probably in a gale. This is my Staysail. This is going to be used in heavy weather. But I don't know, I'm comfortable with it. I'll replace it, ahead of schedule. All right, the next step before cutting the top foil short is to line everything up and put all the foils kind of together next to the wire and confirm the measurement. I don't know that there's a perfect way to do this, but what I did is pulled the wire taut, found out where it was going to line up with the turnbuckle, and this will screw all the way down and the wire will terminate at that line. So it's lined up perfectly with the turnbuckle, right? Then this is the part you can't get perfect. It actually should be like this, probably. Maybe even like that. And then this first one, you have these different positions to choose from. So I think you're supposed to set it up for the middle, and then if you screw it up, you can go either way. So actually, when I set it up for the middle, now that I revised, let's see, do I still believe in this? Let's see. I mean, I think so. I think when I tilted this up, that looks like it's gonna go on there. Okay, so see, this is why it's like hard to do this perfectly. So that's lined up with my middle hole. And then you line up the rest of these. And then based on my worksheet, this last one should be 72.25 inches long. And this is 84, so that means cutting off 11.75. So if I line this up with the end, 11.75 goes to right here. And it's supposed to be a 1/2 inch or so shy of this. So it all seems to make good sense. And again, you can slide the whole foil up and down and put it on whatever setting you need to get it close to the top of the stay. I think the next step is to cut the top foil. Cut foil length with a hacksaw, and then you install that cap. Then you start connecting them all. Okay. Aluminum's a lot easier to cut than stainless. Okay. Alright, now we'll deburr it. Alright, now I gotta find that cap. I think that'll work. Alright, my other camera died. I drilled those holes, and this top cap thing here comes in 2 pieces, and they connect and then go into the tube. I'm just going to screw this in, and this can now slide up and down. And then it's just a matter of connecting all the rest of them. I think the hard parts are done. Like the measuring is hard. These holes are a little finicky because you got to get them to line up. All the other ones are like pre-drilled, so you're just kind of piecing it together like Legos. So connecting these things is pretty straightforward. Slide another length of foil on. You put this down with this hook side down. See, there's one side's flat, one's got a hook. Hook side down towards the bottom of the furler. So before you insert this, you just do a little drop of Loctite in each hole. Then you insert it into the upper foil until you see the holes line up. And then you take this Allen key they provide and this tiny little Allen screw. And I'm gonna put the phone down for this because I don't want to drop these things. So once you have that on, those are screwed in. Now you take this pair. There's a certain way that these have to pair up so that they hook over that hook. And then you do more Loctite and slide this over. And there you have it, 2 connected. 1, 2, 3 more of those to do. They're pretty quick. All right, the whole thing is assembled. The whole foil anyway. Now I'm gonna slide on the top swivel. It has a sticker on it that tells you which way's up. That's very important. I did read that somebody had theirs marked the wrong way by Harkin, so I made sure to compare the picture. This part that's thinner, this definitely is the upside. I'm gonna just slide that up and out of the way. And next, this is exciting, it's gonna start to look like a Furler. It's time to actually put the drum on. Cool, so that's just sitting up out of the way for now. Next morning we're back at it and we're ready to put the Norseman fitting on the end of the wire here. Got it cleaned up best I could. A new wedge or cone. Throw this on the wire. Okay.
Yeah, we met at West Marine the other day.
Oh, that's right. One more. Okay. I'm gonna slide this on. This is dangerous territory. I could easily lose this. Pray for me. Staylock and Norseman have different specifications for the distance. For Norseman, they want 1.5 times the diameter of the wire, so it's 0.42 inches in our case. Around that. Damn, we're having the same problem. This is the issue I had in Berkeley, where the cone has like 0 resistance. Every time I start to form them again, it pushes the cone up. See what I mean? Like before, I just kind of gave this a twist and they would take their shape again. Kind of like that. I guess that wasn't so hard. But we'll see, because let's check our distance. I have this locked out at the right length. So we're pretty much spot on. If we can just get these spread out without losing that distance, we'll be in good shape. Got one wire that's trying to sit in the slit, which is really unfortunate because to move that cone, I'm gonna have to possibly open this back up. Is that one in a slit too? Damn. Alright. Okay, so those are pretty evenly spaced, and I don't think any of the wires are in the slots. I'm gonna use some Loctite to lubricate mostly for now. I am gonna use some on the final install, but for now, just going to thread this in. Alright, that's good enough for the test fit. Back it off. It looks amazing. Wow, awesome. Our distance for the cone is perfect. Ready for final assembly. We gotta fill up the sealant. I've seen a couple of methods for the sealant. What you're trying to avoid is getting it in the threads. I've seen people kind of like work it in back here to start. There it goes in the thread. I don't know how you avoid getting it in the threads if you really want it to seal. Seems like maybe a healthier dose up here. Ah! You ever have that? That's a pain in the freaking butt right there. Alright, we're switching to the finger method. The other thing we got to do is that was going to be good with the damn. Alright. Ah, Jesus Christ. Alright, now I need a poker. Because I'm pretty sure there's air bubbles in there, but then I don't want it on the threads. What a pain in the ass. It was all going good until that frickin' sealant tube popped out the bottom. There it is. I heard the air bubble pop. Kind of seems like that's as good as I'm gonna get it. So, more Loctite here. Try to keep this sealant off the threads. And here we go. Yeah, some sealant definitely got mixed in with the Loctite. Gotta quickly get all this life cock off of these threads. Alright, I think that's good. And see, I just got some right there. I always do this. If you don't get it quick. Get that cleaned up. That's crazy. It's almost like the cock like accelerated the cure on the Loctite. Hi.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
It's truly impressive what all you're doing over here.
Thanks, man.
Colin, when are you going up?
I went up yesterday to get...
You should have told me. I could have videoed it. How was it?
I never like it that much.
It's in the track, so you get
like
some
that.
stuff.
That was funny. The general manager of the marina just randomly popped over. Just happened to be walking by. I've never met him. I was a little worried they were gonna take issue with my doing this work here dockside, and you know, my plans to go out there and hoist this thing. But no, they were cool, asking questions and stuff. Anyway, we're in good shape. And this is how we're gonna hoist it. A halyard that goes to the masthead, and this smaller diameter line. It's kind of like a rolling hitch with one extra locking, kind of like half hitch. So this should pull up just fine and not go over that. I thought about using the top swivel, but then that's just gonna be putting a lot of pressure on this top cap. Just remembered I need to get my small screwdriver and tighten these. I'm really glad I realized that. I also have to install this feeder. Alright, for the feeder they call for blue Loctite. Harkin is kind enough to send you one extra, seemingly of each. Almost every fastener seems to have one spare. Appreciated for goofs like me that tend to drop these things in the drink. I wish that they give you spares of these, because these are the most like unique. I'm biased because I've lost one. I attached the turnbuckle to this. We'll just have to get it pin in on the deck fitting. These can be attached later. So this is captive due to these nuts, and this will attach there. So this will stay down here when we're hoisting, and then when it's time to put it all together, drop that down, and then I can attach these and adjust the foil height. Yeah, should be good to go. All right, pray that that hitch holds. Pray. Right there.
Yep.
All right, slow down. Yeah, just gonna try to slide on.
Right, come down. Down. Just a hair more. All right. Pins in.
About
Do
there.
you want me to hold on to that and you can climb up? That would be awesome. Let me give it a couple of...
The pin is in. Cotter pin is in, just gotta bend it. All right, baby. All right. Get Put the wrenches at.
Yeah. Put wrenches on it.
Well, yeah, it's already like.
It's pretty straight already.
Yeah.
You're not going to need too much more. That's what I said. You probably have 1.25 inches to an inch worth.
Oh yeah. That's not far off.
No. But is this far? Is this?
I mean, they kind of just tell you to get it straight, and that's it. You know.
I think you're only going to need maybe another full turn on the thing, maybe a little more.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Appreciate you guys. Oh, that went amazing. This really ended up pretty much perfect because we're in the middle of our travel here, and we want the foil is basically lifted totally up right now. So when we drop, we're supposed to have a 1/2 inch of space at the top, and that's pretty much the distance between this and this. So when I drop this down like that to put the screws in, we should have our 1/2 inch at the top, so it's like literally perfect. There she is. Staysail Furler is on, baby. The link plate on there to keep her up over keep the sail over the lifelines, give a good lead angle for the furling line to go to its first block, and keep the drum above the anchor out of the way. It came out perfect. Could not ask for a better result.